Hey kids, it's Jonesing with Jeff Drake. I'm your host, Jeff Drake, and Plonk's away doing something else, so I figured I'd sneak in here and do some of these shorts so he couldn't bother me while I was trying to, we call this working. Anyway, I was dipping into my record collection earlier, and I gotta change my glasses. I'm sorry. Hold on. I was digging into my record collection, and actually I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said that I thought the greatest songwriting team in rock and roll history was Leiber and Stoller, and I'll fight to the death anybody that disagrees with me, okay? I mean, you can bring on Lennon, McCartney, Tiger Richards, Bob Dylan, who's not really even a team, so I just disregard that. Anyway, Leiber and Stoller. They had 70 hit songs, mostly in the 50s, but they also wrote some songs into the 60s. Their first hit was Hound Dog by Big Mama Thornton, later recorded and made famous by Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, they call him. Anyway, so Leiber and Stoller, they were two Jewish guys. That doesn't matter. Two Jewish guys from New York, Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller, and they wrote songs, and they were really, really good. Yeah, there's just great stories about him. In 1956, Mike Stoller was on this Italian ocean liner called the Andrea Doria that sunk out in the Atlantic, and he survived. And he was on the ship, I think, for 8 days, and then on a lifeboat, and he got rescued. What a story! Leiber and Stoller, I think they were so important in the early days of rock and roll. I think without them, rock and roll might not have become popular because they were the ones that were writing the catchy early rock and roll songs. And they wrote a ton of songs for Elvis. In fact, I have a record right here called, excuse me, kid. Elvis sings Leiber and Stoller. And I haven't listened to it, but it's great, I'm sure. I mean, you know the songs, Hound Dog, Baby I Don't Care, Jailhouse Rock. They wrote all those songs and a bunch more. There's a story that Elvis's publishing guy came to them and said, "Hey, we need some more songs for Jailhouse Rock." And they sat down at the piano, and in like 20 minutes, they wrote like 5 songs. Great songs, too. I don't remember the titles, but they were great songs. Anyway, they also wrote a ton of songs. In fact, I think all the good songs for this band, the Coasters, who I don't think get enough credit. They were an early rock and roll band from here in LA. That's why they were called the Coasters, because they're from the West Coast. Even though there's a roller coaster, that was just sort of a joke. Anyway, they had a ton of hits, all written by Leiber and Stoller. Great stuff, funny, catchy. Like said, I think the Leiber and Stoller and the Coasters were so important in the early days of rock and roll of making it popular, getting on the radio, and it wasn't threatening. It was just kind of catchy and cool. And so I will fight anybody, unless they're bigger than me or there's more than one, who says that Leiber and Stoller are not the most important songwriting team in rock and roll history. That's just the bottom line right there. Leiber and Stoller, 70 hits. They wrote Spanish Harlem, I think Under the Boardwalk, maybe not that one. Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, Baby I Don't Care, all the Coaster songs, Idle with the Golden Head, Run Red Run, Smokey Joe's Cafe, Little Egypt, Shopping for Clothes, cool, catchy songs. And Mike Stoller almost drowned in a shipwreck, the Andrea Doria, a famous shipwreck in 1956. Anyway, so Leiber and Stoller, check them out. You won't believe the amount of songs they wrote, like 70 hits. That's a lot. Anyway, that's it for today, kids. Go out and listen to some Leiber Stoller and the Coasters, and see you next time. Hey kids, if you enjoy what we're doing here at Jonesing with Jeff Drake, please help support the show. It costs a lot of money to do it, and we don't sell ads, and we're broke. So please go to Patreon and support the show so we can continue to bring you this high-class entertainment. Thanks for your attention.